Herbert looked terrific, and for the second straight game, this Miami offense wasn't anything close to what we've seen over the last few months. Your 2 cents on whether we're seeing a separation of powers here a little bit.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't think the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are a good team. I'm going to tread carefully because anything negative you say about them, you hate the Dolphins. Like, I don't hate the Dolphins. The Dolphins are just not as good as people thought. It's December now. They're going to go to Buffalo this weekend in the snow. If they win that game on Saturday night, they're right back in the conversation among the NFL's elites, and you can write this off as a 2-game slump. But I think what you're seeing is like, hey, last week they go to San Francisco. I think the moment was a little bit too big for that offense. I mean, there were guys open. They missed on some stuff, and they ended up in the situation that they ended up in. And then this week, with a chance to rebound against a bottom 10 defense with Derwin James out, with Sebastian Joseph Day out, with multiple guys out, really score 7 points, essentially, for most of that ball game. Tyreek Hill doesn't come out of a rugby scrum with a football and run 60 yards for a touchdown. I thought, the Chargers did a really nice job of being aggressive on first and second down in coverage. And I mean, like, taking away, space a little bit, like not being afraid of those receivers, because the separation these guys have been getting all year has been just like criminal. And last night it wasn't there. And so the ball placement has to be perfect and things are sped up and the pressure's higher. I mean, this was a pressure spot for Tua. It was a pressure spot for Justin Herbert. A lot of people have been having this, frankly, really dumb conversation about who would you draft first, that sort of thing. Like, Tua's a good player and everything, but I think Justin showed why people are so enamored with him. And I'm not saying he's in that Patrick Mahomes tier. He's not. I'm not saying he's in the Josh Allen tier yet. He's not. I'm not saying I would take him over Joe Burrow. But what I am saying is he's in that tier where he's knocking on the door of being elite. And I do think this offense has held him back at times. I think Mike Williams and Keenan Allen not being on the field at the same time has held him back. But when you watch the throws he makes, the off-the-spot throws that he made all last night, and he's done it all year with pressure in his face and that sort of thing, but last night he was so efficient on a big stage where everybody's saying, hey, it's an either-or conversation, because I know if Dolphins fans came away from that game and Tua threw for 400 yards, they'd say he's a better player than Justin Herbert. This was just one game, but if you're Justin Herbert, you got to feel good about answering a lot of doubters because there was a lot of noise, especially the last 4 to 6 weeks, as the Dolphins were mowing down these really poor teams.
Well, I mean, the deal with the Chargers, and I said it earlier in the show, Chris, is that if they continue to play as well as they did Sunday night, then what we're going to see is Justin Herbert and this team on the road in the playoffs at Cincinnati or Kansas City or Buffalo, whichever one of those three that doesn't get the top seed. It's entirely possible, the 2 or the 3. That's where he's going to have to go, and that's where the rubber's going to have to meet the road. But at least he'll make the playoffs. Certainly, when you look right, I mean that's where it's kind of headed right now for that team if they're lucky.
Yeah. The AFC playoffs could be a lot of fun. I don't bank on it, although their games the remainder of the season I think are pretty winnable. The Chargers, if you know anything about the Chargers, and hey, evidenced by that fumble at the end of the game, Justin Herbert with a spectacular fumble recovery on the snap. I mean, that's probably his fault, but like he made up for it with that fumble recovery. That was crazy. And then obviously letting Tyreek Hill score in that really unorthodox way, and then almost dropping the onside kick. Like, Chargers, hold on to your butts, man. But like, it's the inconsistency that worries you. I thought Brandon Staley, who I've been critical of Brandon a little bit because I don't think this team has played to their potential at times. They played to their potential defensively and then some. I mean, he got those guys ready to play. And so hats off to him. And hats off to Justin Herbert. Again, this was a lot of people were watching for a very simple sports talk show TV reason. This quarterback against that quarterback. And, hey, you wanted it, you got it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.